They say true strength isn't seen, it's felt, not in the man who shouts the loudest, but in the one who moves quietly, endures deeply, and never asks for applause. This is for the men who stand tall, even when no one stands with them. For those who've learned that solitude isn't loneliness, it's transformation. Welcome to the Stoic flame. There's a kind of power that doesn't need noise. It doesn't need validation, or even recognition. It's quiet, grounded, and often misunderstood. You'll find it in the man who keeps walking forward when life falls apart, who carries the weight of his pain without bitterness, who finds peace in solitude while others drown in distraction. In a world addicted to attention, silence has become a rebellion. But the strong man, he thrives in silence, because silence is where truth lives. It's where the mind sharpens, the heart steadies, and the soul remembers who it is. You see, strength isn't about being untouched by pain. It's about facing it head-on, without flinching, without begging for rescue. It's the ability to say, "I'll carry this," even when no one's watching. Maybe you've felt it before. The nights when everything feels heavy, yet you keep going. No messages, no company, no comfort. Just you and your thoughts. That's not weakness. That's the training ground of a strong man. Solitude becomes the forge, and you, the weapon being shaped by fire. When you stop running from yourself, you discover something powerful. You begin to like your own company. You no longer chase people who don't value you. You stop explaining yourself to those who never cared to understand. You realize that peace isn't tea found in crowds. It is built in quiet moments of honesty with yourself. Seneca once said, "The greatest blessings of mankind lie within us." And that's the truth the strong man learns early, that the world can strip you of everything, money, status, even love. But it cannot touch your inner calm unless you hand it over. And when you've made peace with being alone, you become unstoppable, because no one can threaten a man who needs nothing from them. But solitude is just the beginning. The next sign of true strength is this. You no longer seek validation, the applause, the likes, the approval. They used to mean everything. Now they mean nothing. Because a man who respects himself no longer feeds off external praise. He's full from within. He knows that people's opinions are reflections of their own chaos, not his truth. And so, when the world judges, he stays centered. When they mock, he smiles quietly, because his self-worth was never up for debate. The Stoics called this freedom, the power to walk through life without being chained to opinion, to do what's right, even when no one agrees, to stand firm in your truth, because you know who you are, even if they never do. This kind of confidence doesn't shout, it whispers. It's calm, it's composed. It is the man who no longer needs to prove his worth because he is already living it. And then comes pain, the test every strong man faces. You lose people. You lose things. You lose pieces of yourself. The world tries to break you open, but you don't shatter. You absorb it. You breathe through it. You let pain shape you, not destroy you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The strong man lives by that. He can't control what happens, but he can control how he responds. His calmness becomes his armor. Pain visits him often, but each time, it finds him steadier. He doesn't ask, "Why me?" He asks, "What is this teaching me?" Because pain isn't punishment, it's instruction. Every scar becomes wisdom. Every loss becomes understanding. Over time, he learns that the goal isn't to avoid pain, it's to outgrow it. To love fate no matter how harsh, because even hardship can be a gift if it forges character. But in a world built on noise and vanity, this calmness looks strange. People think you don't care, but you do. You just care differently. You care with purpose, not panic. With depth, not drama. You choose principles over popularity. You don't bend your values just to fit in. You'd rather stand alone in truth than be accepted in lies. Integrity becomes your foundation. You stop playing the games people play for approval. You no longer compromise for comfort. You live by a code, your own. And it's not easy. There will be times when people leave you because you refuse to conform. Let them. Because the peace that comes from standing in your truth is worth more than the applause of 1,000 pretenders. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." And when you start living by that, something changes. Your life gains weight. Every word, every action begins to carry integrity. People might not always like you, but they'll respect you. And that's far more valuable. Then there's compassion, the kind of strength most people overlook. It takes courage to stay kind when life hasn't been kind to you. It takes wisdom to forgive when you could hate. A strong man doesn't close his heart after being hurt. He keeps it open, but guarded by wisdom. He understands that cynicism is just another form of fear, the fear of feeling again. But compassion is power. It means you can see pain without judgment, help others without expectation, and love without attachment. And when you live that way, you rise above the world's bitterness. You no longer react to cruelty with more cruelty. You become calm, centered, grounded, because true strength doesn't destroy, it heals. Finally, the quietest form of power. You keep moving forward, silently. No noise, no need to explain, just action. Every day, a small step forward. No one may notice, but you do it anyway. Because real discipline doesn't crave attention. It craves growth. When the world sleeps, you work. When the crowd talks, you listen. When they doubt, you keep building. Not for recognition, but for purpose. You understand that success doesn't shout, it whispers. It's built quietly in private and revealed naturally in time. That's what makes the strong man different. He doesn't need the spotlight because he is the flame. He burns steadily, silently, and unshakably. In the end, strength isn't about muscles or dominance or bravado. It's about mastery of the self. It's about peace that doesn't depend on anyone else. It asks about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need the world to understand him, because he already understands himself. So if you recognize yourself in these words, even just a little, know this. You are already walking the path of true strength. You don't need to shout it. You don't need to prove it. Just live it. Because the world may never see your battles, but they will always feel your presence. The calm, steady, unshakable presence of a man who has found peace within himself. This is the Stoic flame.